From Space Tomato here, why Star Citizen players are so frustrated. Okay.
Star Citizen 4.0 is no longer scheduled for Q3 of 2024. And while the new release window of Q4 could mean just a month's delay, many players are obviously hesitant to believe the new date set.
We're always hesitant to believe the new date set, Space Tomato. Listen, Space Tomato's a friend of the channel here, but like, really? Nobody ever expects any of this shit on time, man. Like, nobody.
For the better part of a decade waiting for this update, it can be difficult to put trust in what the roadmap says. In this video, I'd like to talk about why everyone is so flustered and how this could affect the rest of the year. Bear with me, this video is a bit of a roller coaster. Thank you for coming to my...
The entire project's a roller coaster.
Tomato Talk.
Be real.
You know, no game comparison is apples to apples, and I try to stay away from pitting game development cycles against one another in these videos, but me and my wife...
I love pitting up games against one another. It's like a battle royale, man. I love that shit. I know some of them shouldn't even be compared, but personally, I love the competition. I think it's great for the space, and sometimes even if the games aren't even the same genre, I like pitting them up for different reasons, just because like I like the competition. I just like the competition in the sci-fi space. If you've noticed, there's been a lot of new sci-fi titles lately, and I'm super happy about that. I am just overjoyed by the fact that I see new sci-fi titles, man. It's so refreshing.
Have put in well over 700 hours into Civilization 6 since October 2016. And I realized when getting hyped for the new sequel, Civ 7, coming out in February, that we've also been waiting for Star Citizen 4.0 since the exact same month it was released. Now, game development is difficult. It's obvious looking at the various recent game releases, and Star Citizen is trying to do something wildly different with no real foundation before it to build on besides the CryEngine. But the actual physical weight that it's taken to just get to this one major milestone has been a bit tiring. And that doesn't discredit the fact that I've probably had 10 times that many hours in Star Citizen, enjoying myself in a game environment I've been dreaming about for the majority of my gaming life. But ultimately, I, like many others, have been waiting for this environment to take the next step forward.
Listen, here's something that seems very common sense to me. I don't know, maybe to some of you watching. If you're tired of a game, play another game. I mean, does that... And maybe by playing another game because you're tired of a game, that the developers of the game you got tired of will do something different. Like what is the disconnect here, man?
We all know that the 3.x cycle of updates, while they've added gameplay, features, ships, and locations, still haven't built on the fundamental set of features that Star Citizen needs to become the MMO we all want to play. And that's what's frustrating to many players. People, myself included, aren't going to blame the developers for the position the game is in. Maybe marketing and management, but not the developers. I understand the struggle, and as things progress...
What was Jared doing there? What is this? Is this a reenactment, or is this for real? What was this footage right here? Hold on a second.
Players. People, myself included, aren't going to blame the developers for the position the game is in. Maybe marketing and...
What is it? Jared's just going off, man. What the fuck? I wish I was a fly on that wall. I need the audio on this shit.
Management, but not the developers. I understand the struggle, and as things progress, they also change and call for adaptation. But that doesn't change the fact that communication tells us to expect something over and over and over and over and over again. And reality keeps slapping us in the face. The most important thing to many players in this game is stability. And the great barrier to that stability has always been deemed to be the overloaded back end. Precisely the fact that only one server controls every instance of the game, which leads to desync, lag, non-reactive... Yeah, be careful with those overloaded back ends, for real, you know? You never know what comes out of those. Just careful. AI, and an overall slow server tick rate, dictating that just about everything performs poorly at times.
Diva!
FPS, mining, space station services, low flying, all the things. You can imagine then that after years of presentations, graphical demonstrations, interviews, and showcases talking about the coming server meshing in 4.0 that may actually hold the key to finally allowing Star Citizen to play like a somewhat normal game, there is nothing that players could possibly want more than to just pass that milestone and see what's on the other side. Because ultimately, multiplayer Star Citizen is a pretty good time even now if you like mining, salvaging, hauling, or just flying around with friends. But that's only when it's running well. Take every single feature out of the 4.0 update, from new outposts to engineering.
I mean, really, do it. Take every single feature out, because there's lots of features in there, and a lot of content creators will tell you there's no progress when there absolutely has been progress. But seriously, for a moment, take every feature out. Now, what stands out the most to you, right? What's standing out the most to you? Dynamic server meshing, dynamic server meshing, dynamic server meshing, dynamic server meshing. Like he just said 2 minutes ago, stability, stability. It is the most important thing. Who was screaming stability? Who was saying stability last year? Who was saying stability the year before last year? Who was saying stability 3 years ago? What is the most important thing? Dynamic server meshing. All these features, great. All these features needed. Keep working. Keep doing what you're doing. I don't want these people to ever stop building what they're building. But don't negate it, okay? No, don't negate the work that they're doing. They're real people doing real work. But what is the most important thing? What is the number one important feature for Star Citizen? And to give us the stability that we all want, dynamic server meshing. Let's not be fooled by it. It's going to be something that we're right up against it. I said this on the last highlight. We're right here. It's time. It's time. And it's going to take however long it's going to fucking take to get it done. It's like the little kid in the back of the car that's like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And it's like, no, motherfucker, there's still a lot of driving to go. Okay. But Dad, you said you were going to the Rocky Mountains and you just passed something that looked like the Rocky Mountains, Dad. That's right, motherfucker. I did. We're changing course. We're going over to fucking Washington. We're going to see the Space Needle, motherfucker. Are we there yet? No, we're not there yet. Are we there yet? No. Dad, we just passed the Space Needle. I thought you said we were going. No, we're going to fucking Juneau, Alaska now, motherfucker. Like, here's the thing. It will take as long as it takes. They are driving the car. If you listen, the only way you're going to be able to apply pressure is to stop spending money. I can't say this shit enough. That's all I've been fucking saying lately. I have been saying this. If you are that upset about the progress, stop spending money and walk away and play something else and do something else. And that will translate into lower revenue. That lower revenue, Cloud Imperium will go like, oh shit. And maybe some gears will start to move in different ways and shit gets done a little bit faster. Okay. But it won't change one thing. Dynamic server meshing, because the tech and the way they want the tech to run, the evolved dynamic server, not the dynamic server meshing that everybody's telling me, oh, dynamic server meshing, it's been here forever, DG. What are you talking about? It's nothing new. The way they fucking are coding it is to target large areas of population, large gaming areas of population. Wherever the traffic is, dynamic server meshing as being worked on by those at Cloud Imperium, they're trying to target that and give it the zones that it needs to function, which is different, which is revolutionary, which is tech that doesn't currently exist. And that's going to take a while. And it's going to take as long as it takes to get us to that point. And they're pioneering it. They're pioneering the work on it. And I'm glad that there's somebody out there pioneering the work on it. I'd rather there be somebody out there trying to do this work than nobody doing it. Because if they do it, it will completely revolutionize the gaming industry. I've been just saying this over and over these past 2 or 3 weeks because there's so much people. Oh, the frustration. How much people are truly frustrated. Let's really take a poll on this. I mean, all of us are frustrated at some point with Star Citizen, but like all this frustration, is it manufactured? I'm starting to feel like with all, like we're frustrated. Of course we're frustrated, but like how, is it slightly manufactured by Star Citizen content creators? No offense, Space Tomato. I get it. It's your livelihood, dude. But like, it seems like to me that like every video lately is just like frustration, frustration, anger, 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 click, click, monetize, monetize, monetize. It might be just a little bit like,
to any new ships, weapon updates, or engineering features, even the entire second star system that you would think is the biggest deal to many. The majority of people see these as welcome additions, great gameplay, something good to be added in to try out, but generally more of the same. And you'll like
it's always peak frustration right before CitizenCon. This is like I've been doing this a long time. I'm going to tell you, right around August is like peak fucking anger. It is a cycle. You can ask anybody here live or those who have been veterans of Star Citizen forever. We all know August is the month of pain, frustration, anger. And then CitizenCon comes rolling around. Everybody says they don't care. CitizenCon, boom, and then woo, everything's great again. And then the flip scripts, and then boom, rinse, wash, repeat, man. I'm seeing some salad vibes. If I keep seeing salad vibes in the chat, I'm going to have to skip to the next video.
Likely see this in the comments on this very video. Many players don't consider these new additions to be all that groundbreaking for the game.
Tomato, though,
and that's because they kind of aren't on their own. They're just the next step in a lot of different gameplay elements that comes with the actual groundbreaking part of the game. Server meshing.
Yes, Sav, yes.
People can meme all they want about Star Citizen players being suckers for ships. I mean, we are. But all that fundamentally matters with 4.0 is server meshing and the promise of better performance in a game that at the current moment is great fun to play if you experience a good stable session without falling through the floor of your own ship.
Right.
Because despite what folks say, while ships and their sales keep this company alive and able to continue development, it's not what brings in the money long term, in my opinion.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. He's absolutely right about that. I noticed I've been bringing up these talking points about revenue, and then do you notice what the counter is? It's pretty interesting. I've been talking about, I don't see it failing because the revenues have been up. I've been talking about this for 2 weeks now. You see how the content creators are kind of like contesting that. They're like, well, that's not really all that's important, those revenues, DG. It's one of the most important things that a company looks at in the business world. Right? I mean, like when they start to see revenues plateau and drop, trust me, in the business world, in the professional business world, those revenues start dropping. That's really important. That applies pressure. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. Things change. When the money stops flowing, things fucking change. It is important. And it's a great metric. Trust me, it is a great metric. Looking at those revenues is a great metric to figure out a lot of things. The interest in the game, the adoption of the game, profitability of the company. Those revenues are the lifeblood. That starts plateauing and going down. Trust me, things change. Things just change. Biologically, organically, they just fucking change naturally, man.
That comes from a healthy game, an expanding experience, moves towards an actual MMO, and an experience that provides the promise of progress and growth. The ability to take part in the game, not just imagine it. And this experience has improved over the years despite these delays. Object container streaming helped load only parts of the game for any specific player, improving frame rates across the board.
I see you guys spending your points for that DG stash, and I don't understand why you guys don't have the emoticon now. By the way, I'm looking at live chat right now. I'm so happy that people are buying the DG stash little emoticon, and no one's getting award with it. I'm writing a letter to Bezos. I'm literally writing a letter to Bezos. You guys should have the ability to have Rage Stash DG, and none of you who just spent your points can get this. This is a fucking Fingers knows. Fingers says it took your 50K, didn't it? Just fucking listen. I'm sorry, but I did have Cloud Imperium actually code my Twitch channel. So, you know, we're still waiting on that. That'll be in my 4.0 patch here on DG 360.
The server player capacity took a step up in 3.17.2, creating more gameplay opportunities.
Trying to get you to feel
Bug fixing,
home,
while not solving all the problems, has had some positive impacts on different gameplay loops over the course of time. The rendering engine finally reached a mature state this year, improving lighting, introducing DLSS and FSR, and giving some players better frame rates. And server crash recovery has stopped players from completely crashing out of the game when a server...
Oh my god, Daft, you are such a super mod. If you can figure out a way that people can get this DG stash... Oh my god, look at him go. Look at him go. Holy god, Daft is... Well, hold on, I gotta give... Look at this man. Super mod Daft. Supermod death. Stashgate. We got to figure out how to get these people their prizes, man. The fuck doesn't this work?
Server goes down, just making you wait a little bit for a server to spin back up and allow you to keep playing.
I don't get it either.
There have been improvements over the years, but for the most part, they feel like band-aids. And don't get me wrong, just because server meshing is coming in to 4.0 as an actual long-term development of the game that could improve all these things, it doesn't mean everything will be solved right away. After 3.0 took 3 quarters to straighten itself out, 3.18 took a full quarter to become playable, and now 3.24 is spending months in limited testing to get the pain points figured out, CIG should at this point know that 4.0 needs to be at the very least a direct transition to the new system without a degradation in quality. And if they can successfully pull that off, then the following updates of 4.1 and 4.2 over the next half year should offer the chance to either provide additional increases to player capacity or improve the performance of the game.
Thank you. Thank you, Stunner. Thank you, Wooksy. I love you, bros. That's going to my nieces. We got a double graduation up in Detroit, and I'm heading up there this weekend, and so like everything's going to them. Everything's going. That's for you, Lily. That's for you, Ayla. There you go. You know your Uncle DG has no money. Okay? Don't be like me. Don't be like me.
Hopefully both. That would mean, preferably, that the game is in a good state to play by next summer,
even though I'm awesome.
The current schedule sticks. But many are wondering why the current schedule would stick. Because at the end of the day, the biggest aspect hurting Star Citizen, as always, are the communication problems. So let's look at the signs of what might happen with 4.0 over the next few months. With 4.0 scheduled for Q4 of 2024, there are several possibilities of what we might see. First, the patch could enter testing immediately after the previous update, 3.24, goes to the live servers. If this happens within the next week of this video releasing, we could see 4.0 and Evocati testing by the first half of September. While nobody yet knows what could happen in this phase of testing, the possibility is there for the patch to progress into the PTU testing phase, possibly even available to everyone by CitizenCon at the end of October. This is the absolute best case scenario and pretty unlikely in my opinion. It would be a huge boon to Star Citizen, ushering in many of the changes shown at CitizenCon last year to player hands before the next convention. This would remove the need to even talk about Pyro at CitizenCon 2024 all that much, and allow everybody to turn their attention towards what comes next, as is the tradition. But that would depend on 3.24 going live, 4.0 even being ready for Evocati, a pretty good Evocati cycle, the underlying database performing well, and no major hiccups to be found at higher scale testing as we go through PTU phases. Anybody who's followed Star Citizen knows that's a pretty tall order. We've seen both long and short Evocati cycles, but with a feature update as big as 4.0, which could be similar to 3.18, 3.15, and 3.0 before it, it's not as likely. This would still abide by a Q4 update release and is likely the earliest that most people figured it would be releasing by June of this year anyway. Yes, it's Q4, but it's also pretty close to Q3 as far as Star Citizen is concerned. Y'all know how they treat their calendars. The next best option for a 4.0 release is for the update to go to Evocati closed testing anytime between 3.24 hitting live servers and CitizenCon at the end of October. This would still allow for discussion to at least begin to move past 4.0 in time for CitizenCon and a possible PTU patch launch at the event itself. While that would still make for a relatively fast Evocati cycle given the scale of the update, it's much more possible than what I said previously. And I think it goes without saying that all of this is assuming the possibility of features being removed from 4.0.
Oh, fuck. No offense against Space Tomato. I love him. I really do. But like, it's like a root canal. Like, all this. The only thing that matters is dynamic server meshing. This entire game, everything depends upon dynamic server meshing. Do not let people fool you. This game needs it in order for it to be the success, what we want, what was the dream that was promised to us. Dynamic server meshing. Keep up the work on everything that we've seen here. It's like a fucking quilt that's not sewn together. It's just giant patches, different sized patches all over the place. And it needs to be tied together with dynamic server meshing for the stability so that we can actually build an economy on it. That's what matters, okay? Don't get yourself fucking, don't dive down this rabbit hole, okay? Don't be fooled. You will be less stressed if you just realize one important thing. The only thing that matters is dynamic server meshing. Stability, stability, stability. If you think anything else, you don't know. Take it from me. I'm telling you, the only thing you should be worried about with Star Citizen, the only thing, dynamic server meshing. Everything else is window dressing. Everything else is window dressing. Somebody needs to get real and serious. A content creator needs to step up and tell you the only thing that matters is dynamic server meshing. That's it. If they can do it the way we envisioned it, the way we need it to be, the game will be a smashing success. If they don't do it, it'll be a giant disappointment. I'll still play it. I'll still have a great time, but it won't be the MMO experience that was promised because it needs it. Only thing that matters. All the other things, it's window dressing. Don't get tied up into it. If I was any fan of Star Citizen out there watching this right now, or watching any other Star Citizen content creator, I would tell them the same thing. The only thing that matters is dynamic server meshing. That's it. All the other facets and stuff, the game mechanics that come in after, I want to know that the stability is going to be there. Stability. Stability. And an instance where hundreds, if not thousands of people can have the same shared experience in a sandbox. The only thing that's going to provide that is dynamic server meshing, the most important tech that has not really yet been invented that they're working on. When that gets solved, nobody has to fucking worry about anything. All this other shit is just you're obsessing about bullshit. The only thing you should be obsessed about, dynamic server meshing. If you're watching videos and you're watching roadmap videos and you're obsessing about every little fucking detail, you're doing it wrong. They got it right. Star Citizen content creators, boy, they got this game locked up. They got you worrying over every little fucking thing. All the little nicks and the knacks and the little fucking tiddly bits everywhere. They got you worried about every little fucking thing. But at the end of the day, they love that. Come on, click it. Come on and click it. No offense against Space Tomato. This is his livelihood. Other people like Morphologist and Mike and others out there, this is their livelihood, right? Okay? They got to keep you interested with the fucking, all the little tiddly bits, man. All the little fucking widgets. And at the end of the day, the only fucking thing that matters is dynamic server meshing. That's it. If you're focused on all this other shit, you're just a victim, man. You got fucking clickety clacked. You signed up to pay him. That's okay. Pay him. If you support Tomato, if you support Mike, if you support Morphologist, great. Pay him. But realize you paid him. You can save yourself a lot of time in your day not obsessing about the fucking roadmap if you just realize dynamic server meshing was the only fucking thing that mattered with this game. That's the only thing on the roadmap that I fucking care about. It's the only thing about the game that I fucking care about. And that's what I'll focus on. That's where I'll worry. That's where I'll pay attention. That's where my time goes. All this,